Tell you what, I'm not looking.
They paid their playoff bill. They lost quarterback Jim Kelly.
It's just one of those days that everything went wrong.
They lost the AFC East title to Miami.
I don't want to go home, not just yet.
They lost home field advantage throughout the playoffs to Pittsburgh.
Really shocked to some degree that we're in a wild card game.
And the Bills' heavy debt collectors, the Houston Oilers.
I like our chances as well as anybody's because of the talent we have.
7 days later, the Oilers leave the air-conditioned comfort of the Astrodome and travel to the bitter cold of Buffalo, where the Bills are unbeaten in the postseason.
Buffalo is beatable. We dominated them last week, and we just got to do 100% better this week, you know.
So can Houston pick up where they left off last week and blast the Bills right out of the playoffs? Or will Buffalo come charging back? Hello everybody and welcome to our coverage of the playoffs here on Channel 4. Late last night, the reigning Super Bowl champions Washington dominated Minnesota, and a supercharged San Diego ran all over Kansas City, so they both move in to the next round. If you weren't able to join us for those games, don't worry, as Gary will have highlights on Inside Stuff. But for today, the big question mark is the Buffalo Bills. Championed all season as the team from the AFC most likely to reach the Super Bowl, but they've often looked far from their powerful best. And only last week, Houston showed the Bills why they're the only team to go to the playoffs in each of the past 6 seasons. But they also haven't played to their full potential this season. Now these teams meet again, and it's sudden death this time. So if the Bills are serious about the Super Bowl, they'll have to prove it, as the AFC's top offense and top defense come head to head. Buffalo's top-ranked offense will certainly miss Jim Kelly. Can backup Frank Reich rise to the occasion?
You know, this is an awfully good football team we're going up against. You know, defensively, they're number 1 in the AFC and maybe even in the NFL on pass defense. And I think the reason they're number 1 is because they get pressure with a 4-man rush.
In a rush to unbalance Reich will be Houston's Ray Childress.
I think that they're pretty confident in Frank Reich, too. I don't think they're going to change the scheme-wise or take things out because they don't think that Frank Reich could do it. I think he can do just about everything Jim Kelly was doing. He has some Reds, one of the finest defensive players in the league, and, you know, we're going to have to do something to slow him down. We can't really stop him, but you just got to slow him down some.
Bill's Thurman Thomas could take the pressure off Reich if he launches his explosive running attack.
Thurman Thomas, I think, is probably the best, you know, in my opinion, he's the best running back in the league. And I think certainly that they're going to try to run the ball against us.
For Houston, Warren Moon returns to lead their run-and-shoot offense with their 4 wide receivers. Is this enough to worry Buffalo's defense?
Warren Moon, Haywood Jeffries, Lorenzo White, all those guys. We just can't just pinpoint one guy.
Right now, we have a full package to go all the way. I think we are probably the best team right now in the AFC.
I think it helps us confidence-wise to know that we can beat this football team, first of all, but we still have a lot of work to do in order to do it twice in a row. It's always tough to beat a team back-to-back.
So can Houston match last week's emotion, or will Buffalo exact their wild revenge? As for the weather, the Bills wanted freezing windy conditions, but it's 38 degrees. It's not the Dome, but Houston should be happy. So without further ado, let's hand it over to our match commentators. Todd Crovis return. And at the end of a 10-play drive, they came away with this Steve Christie field goal and trailed 7-3 at the end of the quarter. And if the question mark for Houston was Warren Moon, the Oilers should be ecstatic. Their first drive of 80 yards encompassed everything. The run, the pass, Warren, and best of all, it took 9 minutes. And the best way to beat the Bills' league-leading offense is to keep them on the bench. Talking of which, Frank Reich has once again answered his critics. His first drive ending with that Steve Christie field goal. So a great start to this all-important first-round AFC matchup. For what promises to be a great second quarter, join us after this.
Get some enthusiasm!
Welcome back. And what a performance by Warren Moon and the Houston Oilers. For the second half and more, join us after this break. Welcome back, everybody. Before we go back to Rich Stadium, here's Gary. Well, for all of you either too tired from the new year or too hungover to work the video, we're going to have a quick look back at yesterday's wildcard games. Kansas City at San Diego and the defending Super Bowl champions Washington, who are only in the playoffs because the Vikings beat the Packers last week, travelling to Minnesota to repay the favour. Sub-zero temperatures up in the Twin Cities, but 65 as usual in the Dome. And the Vikings, with Chris Carter back from injury, wasted no time in going to their most productive receiver, Sean Salisbury, finding him down by the goal line, and Terry Allen taking it the rest of the way. After that, though, it was all Washington, or to be more precise, all Brian Mitchell, known primarily as a kick returner. He did that job to perfection, giving the Skins great field position, then fooled the Vikings special teams by taking the snap on a fake punt and rumbling all the way down inside the 20. But not content with that, with Ricky Irvin's hurt, he did duty at running back too, racking up 109 yards and this touchdown. Mark Rippon had great protection all day. This pass to Art Monk set up Ernest Biner for another rushing touchdown for the Skins. Then in the third quarter, it was Rippon with the bomb to Gary Clark to ice the victory. And this year's Redskins suddenly looked frighteningly like last year's.
There's a lot of memories here and a lot of special ties. You know, we finished it, ended it here last year. Why not start it here this year?
Well, last year Stan Humphries won a Super Bowl ring as Rippon's backup. This year he wants to earn one with San Diego. And despite playing hurt, he looked good on the Chargers' opening play from scrimmage, hitting Nate Lewis for 39 yards. But with the Chargers down in scoring position, Marion Butts fumbled, and that pretty much set the tone for the rest of the first half. Defense ruled, whether it was Albert Lewis coming in on the cornerback blitz or Kansas City's more regular dispensers of quarterback pain, Derek Thomas and Neil Smith. 5 sacks for the Chiefs in the game and 7 for the Chargers, including this one on Dave Craig by big Burt Grossman. The stalemate had to end sometime, though, and fittingly from San Diego's point of view, it was Marion Butts who'd fumbled away their best chance in the first half, who broke it, going 58 yards almost untouched into the end zone. A John Carney field goal and a short yardage rumble from Steve Hendrickson finished things off. And needless to say, Stan Humphries prefers being in the playoffs as a starter than a backup.
I think I like this a little better, I think, because I'm actually out on the field playing. You know, I'm going to respect and always treasure the Super Bowl, but this is a lot more fun, I think, because I'm out there playing.
12 victories in their last 13 games. San Diego looking great, but my pick for the AFC representatives in the Super Bowl, Buffalo, looking a bit sick. And everyone else's pick, but you never know in this game. But if you love football, and in particular offense, then you had a treat in the first half. Warren Moon, his teammates and the coaches put on a clinic. They had 4 drives of 80 yards, 67 yards, and 67 yards, respectively, all for touchdowns. As if this wasn't enough, the Oilers' defense have also played superb football. And the biggest factor for the Bills' offense could well be time of possession. The Oilers' defense hardly saw the field in the first half, and that means fresh legs, which isn't good news for the Bills, who need to score early and maintain a drive. But unfortunately for them, as we go back to Rich Stadium, the start of the second half. From the kickoff, Warren Moon was again under pressure and again was picked off. So amazingly, it's the Bills who have the ball. Well, if the first half was a dream for the Oilers, the third quarter was a nightmare. They began it leading by 35-3, but they ended it just 4 points ahead. And that sets the stage for what could be one of the greatest comebacks in NFL playoff history. Join us after the break for what prompted...
I'm just so proud. I'm so thrilled. This is the greatest moment of my life, besides having my daughters and marrying my wife. I'm so proud to be on this team with the Bills. I thank Jesus for the strength not to quit, to come back, for all my teammates for just playing their hearts out. Defense played great in the second half, and we came through with the big win.
Well, that obviously is a happy man. I was talking to him this week, and I promise you, if I'd said he's going to come back from 30-some points, he wouldn't have believed me, Jesus or anyone included. But now let's see, with all the games from this weekend, what that means for next weekend. It means San Diego are at Miami, and Buffalo are at Pittsburgh. That's in the AFC. In the NFC, it's Washington at San Francisco. That should be a great one. And it's Eagles or the Saints, a game that's going on right now. And they'll be playing at Dallas. And the score at the moment is 10-7, the Saints in the Superdome. So that's a huge game going on there right now. And we'll have highlights of that game on play action later on this week, and that's on a Friday night and again on Saturday at noon. Also watch out for our extra playoff program on Saturday night at 10:45, as well as our regular program at 8:30 next Sunday. So an extensive package of football for you next weekend on Channel 4. I hope you'll be able to join us. So until next time, good night.